Financially raw, real, authentic wisdom with Lourens Oberholzer from Retire Rich and...
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Financially Raw. This is Lourens Oberholzer, and as per usual, on a Thursday morning, I'm on my seat and keen to chat with you guys and have a nice conversation and add some value. Today, for the first time since I've started doing the show on my own in studio with everything, I've got a guest. So we've got to have two cameras running. We're going to have a guest in the studio. And our guest for this morning is TJ Seifert from Nexus-X, who is one of the relationship managers at Nexus-X. So hi TJ, how are you? And tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, good morning, Lourens. Yeah, I'm glad to be here. So a bit about myself. As you know, I came from the financial industry into Nexus-X. I was in the financial and sales industry my entire adult life. Before I worked in the financial industry for nearly 7 years, doing sales my whole life. So yeah, kind of hit the ceiling in the financial industry and decided to broaden the horizons, as they would say. So I found myself moving over to you then.
To Nexus-X,
Nexus.
Glad to have you here. I hope you're not too nervous. There's not so many people, so it's just us having the conversation. Perfect. So don't stress. So this morning, what we're also going to do is it is your music selection this morning. So you're going to choose our music. So as per usual, those of you watching on our social media, unfortunately, we can't play you some music because we get blocked. But with you guys, what we're going to have is a video break where we're going to talk a little bit about how to achieve your goals. So if that is something that's important, what to do for the rest of the year, stick around, watch that video. It's going to give you some nice content around how to achieve your goals. For the people on Berg Studio listening online, we're going to have some nice music from TJ's playlist, and I'm going to share that with you. And then the topic for today is all about Nexus-X Relationship Managers, of which TJ is one of them. And what does a relationship manager do? What does it mean to have a relationship manager with Nexus-X? Why TJ is so excited and passionate about being a relationship manager for small businesses. So we're going to have a nice conversation. As per usual, if you have any questions, there is my WhatsApp number. It's not on screen at the moment, so let me quickly get it on screen for you. There's my WhatsApp number on screen at the moment, 082-801-6693. If you want to ask me any questions, you are welcome to ask me those questions and we will answer. Even if you want to ask TJ a question, actually better if you ask TJ the questions and not me, because today I'm not the expert, he's the expert. And then we will answer those questions. If you're listening on Berg Studio, you are welcome to press the shout out button at the top and you can contact us in studio. I have it here on my left hand side, so any questions you might have we can answer. So before we get going, let's take our first music break. So for those of you watching on social media, we're going to talk a little bit about how to achieve your goals, so enjoy that. So how do we make this year a success? Now there's two things. The first thing is it's quite interesting how, if you look back on 2021, on the one side, my personal experience was that it went by so quickly. It was like within minutes, it felt like the year was gone. So it really does feel like a year is just gone in an instant. But if I do look back and I really look at everything that happened in 2021, so many things changed. And some of it I had a direct influence on, some of it just happened to us. But so much happens in a year, really. So if so much happens in a year, if we start looking forward, we can make a difference in that year. We can make a big difference in the trajectory of our life. But one thing you need to realize is that people tend to overestimate what they can do in a year and underestimate what they can do in a decade. So guys, what I want you to really understand is that you will not change everything all at once. You have to understand that these things take time. But we start the year and we're going to lose weight and we're going to sort out our finances, we're going to pay off our debt, we're going to become millionaires, we're going to invest in property, we're going to do all of these things in 1 year. And the mountain we create for ourselves is so big that it's not going to happen in 1 year. And then by 3 months or halfway through the year, we give up on that. And then we start the new year and say, okay, last year we just write it off. 2021 was worse than 2020. Let's just write off the year. But this year, we're going to change X, Y, and Z. Instead of saying, let's start the journey this year, do what we can, work towards the goal so that next year we can build on top of the successes we had this year. You have to be grateful for the successes you have achieved. You have to learn from the failures you achieved. Because one thing you need to understand is that failure is not the opposite of success. And we tend to think that it is. We think if you ask any grade 3 learner and you say, what is the opposite to success? Like the opposite to black is white, the opposite to hot is cold. What is the opposite to success? And I can promise you 99% will say the opposite of success is failure. But that's not accurate. It is not the right answer. And we get taught this without really ever questioning that. The opposite of success is not failure. The opposite of success is inaction. Because without action, without doing something, you will never achieve success. Failure is a part of the journey to success. It is a necessary part of success. But we tend to think of it as opposites. So I've now failed at something, therefore I'm not going to be successful. And that we need to change. So during this year, the goals that you've set yourself, some of them you're going to succeed at, some of them you're going to fail at. But that failure is a learning experience. That failure is a way for you to correct course and make sure that you still go towards the goals that you've set yourself. There's a saying that says, be stubborn in your goals, but be flexible in your methods. So when you have set a goal, make sure that you've made the commitment to achieve that goal and be stubborn in that goal. If you said you're going to achieve something, you will achieve that. But don't be stubborn in your methods. Don't say, well, I'm going to do it by doing this one thing. And welcome back, everyone. And that was, who was that, TJ? What was the song's name?
That was Bring Me the Horizon. Can You Feel My Heart?
That's it. Can You Feel My Heart from Bring Me the Horizon. It is TJ's playlist this morning. So we'll have some nice songs from his side. And like we said before the break, we're going to chat to TJ about being a relationship manager. What does it mean? What do you guys do? And what can you offer small business owners, because that's the target market is small business owners. So TJ, let's start with the first obvious question. What is a relationship manager?
Well, Lourens, when we think about being a relationship manager, we are a single point of contact between Nexus and the business owner, which means think of us kind of as a Swiss Army knife, your little Swiss Army knife for business, but obviously without the danger and with fewer blades, of course. So we provide our clients, like I said, with a single point of service. We obviously customize the service that we bring to the customer by his specific needs. So let's look at some of the different aspects of being a financial advisor, and I think that would fit in quite nicely. So first of all, obviously identifying the right client is important. So not only should their model work for our business, or our model work for their business, but they should obviously be the perfect fit for our business.
Yes.
So I think that's the most important task as a relationship manager as well, is to find that synergy between clients. Between Nexus-X and these small businesses, to see if our modules will work for each other. So that's that in a nutshell.
Yeah. So you are basically there to make sure that small business owner has the right support and knows who to speak to, because instead of having 10 people to speak to, they have one person that they can speak to.
Exactly. No, I do completely right there, Lourens. An easy way to think about it is think of us as a little personal assistant for your business.
That you don't have to pay.
That you don't have to pay.
Or that you don't have to pay a full-time salary for. Now, why is it so important? Why was this created by Nexus-X? And why do you feel it's important for any small business to have somebody like a relationship manager to help them and support them in building their business?
So what we try to do is we try to bring 10 different businesses together to support your business. And what is the one thing that business owners don't have a lot of, which is time. So the biggest thing we do is we provide that time. We manage the different steps. Certain things need to happen, and as relationship managers, we manage that process. So looking at we manage that process between the client and Nexus, of course, to take that extra tasks off of their plate at the end of the day.
Yes. Okay, and how does that actually work? So in a practical sense, what would a client, so let's say the client has now become part of Nexus-X, they have you as their relationship manager. How does that practically work when the client needs something, the owner of the business? What do you do?
So it's quite simple. We simply a message or a call away. So in our service, like I said, all these things need to happen. So let's just call it step one. So we start with step one, and we are the point of contact. So let's say we start with the accounting seat or the accounting needs of the client. We would then communicate with the client's accountant directly and put them in contact with our expert. Okay, so thus we're managing the process from there, on their behalf as far as we can. Yet again, to free up their schedule to tend to what they do best, which is managing their business.
Yes. Okay, so you basically, instead of them having to figure out, okay, who needs to help me here, and having to make 10 phone calls asking a person, well, can you help me with this? And they say, oh, no, we don't do that. You do all that work for them on their behalf.
Exactly. We physically take their hand and guide them through the entire process, step by step by step. And obviously, we are also semi-experts in all of these industries.
Yes.
So we know exactly what needs to happen and when it needs to happen. And that's where we come in with the guidance process.
And who would you say is the kind of businesses or the kind of client that would ideally benefit from what you have to offer and what Nexus-X has to offer?
I believe that all businesses can actually benefit from Nexus-X and our module. But the ideal client, I would say, or the ideal business is a smaller to medium-sized business. Okay, people that are, businesses that are still in the growing process and make use of third-party companies to assist them with different tasks. For instance, like accounting. The reason for that is we bring that that third-party aspect to it as well. So I believe that's the main focus point. People, so we can provide them with the correct service providers at the end of the day. And I think they have the best, I want to say, benefit the most from this. But any business can really benefit from Nexus-X. It's always good to have a second opinion on whatever aspect of business you're looking at.
Yeah. And we'll talk a little bit more about the different benefits or experts that they have access to through Nexus-X. And guys, those of you who don't really know exactly what Nexus-X does, on last week's show, we spoke specifically about the 5 steps and how Nexus-X helps people and helps small businesses to grow by connecting them to 10 experts. So go to our YouTube channel. You can just search for I Retire. And on there, you can, under our live feeds, you'll see the show from last week where we spoke about Nexus-X and how Nexus-X can help you. So am I correct if I'm saying that the ideal client is the size of business that can't really afford to have the top experts in their field on their payroll and on staff? So they can't really afford to go to the biggest accounting firm in the country or the top lawyers in the country, and they can't afford to have an HR manager or an HR expert on their payroll. But still, they need to have access to these kind of people.
100%, Lourens. So ideally, the client has to make use, or the business has to make use of these different service providers. Why? Affordability at the end of the day. Why? I can't have someone in accounting on my payroll. However, what guarantee do you have that they're doing, they don't understand your business as well as you do. So what guarantee do you have that they are providing you the best service they possibly can?
Yes.
And that's exactly where Nexus-X comes in. We assess these different service providers, and not only do we identify key aspects of certain services, but we can also provide an overall service. So not ideally replacing their current service providers, but bringing up the red lights, saying these are the different things you need to look at in this aspect of your business. Let's say, for instance, marketing or your infrastructure at the end of the day. That's what I have there.
Okay, so what would you say is your biggest obstacle when you do go out and discuss the concept? Because it's a new thing. It's not something that has been around. There's no other companies that really do what Nexus-X does. So what would you say is the biggest obstacle and the lack of belief that people have, the questions that they ask, that if a person is now listening that is a small business owner and they think, well, I might be able to benefit from this, but what are those buts that you get?
Okay, Lourens, so for that to answer, I'll have to say the biggest obstacle is business owners are very keen to listen to what we can do for them. However, stubbornness, and I'm just going to be blunt with it. So most of the times, you visit business owners and they do have a proven concept. Their business is working, but they also feel, and that's why I initially think they take the chance, give me the opportunity to come and speak to them. They also feel that their business can do better than it's doing. However, being stubborn, most of the times I find myself battling with business owners to just understand that the way they're doing things, it's working, but for them to fast track themselves to success, you have to be open-minded to different opinions. And that's the biggest obstacle, is getting over that, I want to say, stubborn mindset at the end of the day that all of us have in our industries.
I think a lot of things, and I'm talking from the point of view of a small business owner, is fear of change. Is we have certain things that work. It's not perfect. We're not going anywhere. We're basically living this life of quiet desperation. The business is not growing, but at least it's sustaining itself. And then we're afraid to change that because we'd rather have this quiet desperation than be worse off. And that's, I think, where a lot of the fear comes from, is from that fear of change, but this is something completely different. The second thing is the fear of, if it's going to be more work than I'm doing at the moment, I'm already not getting to everything. How do you answer that if a person says to you, a small business owner says, but where must I find the time to do all of this work that you're going to request from me? How do you address that?
So what we do is, like I said, we provide them with the most important tool, which is the relationship manager. So first of all, we manage all these tasks on their behalf, number one. So we guide it from start to finish, and it's a 12-month process. And I know you think, yes, that sounds long, TJ, but that's the time span you take for things like this. There's a lot to happen, but you have to make that mind change to say, I'm doing things in a certain way. However, I won't be putting on, adding tasks to my day, but I'll be replacing it, ideally. So I think that's the mindset that you should have at the end of the day. It's going to take harder work, but for us to grow our businesses, we really need to, get into that success mindset and, just take the bull by the horns, I suppose.
Yeah. The big thing is, I think that when we look at small business owners are hardworking individuals. Otherwise, you won't go into business for yourself. You don't go into business if you're not a hard worker. The thing is, I think what a lot of small business owners don't understand is the fact that this is not going to add to you. It's actually going to take away, but that doesn't mean you're not going to work hard. It just means you're going to work hard on things that actually grow your business. You'll be able to focus on those 20% of the things that grow the business, not the 80% of things that needs to be done, but it doesn't work, it doesn't grow your business, it doesn't bring in new business. Because that's what tends to happen. We start a business, and then within 6 months or a year, we realize that 80% of our time is spent on things that we weren't trained for. that doesn't bring in business, doesn't grow our business, but it's things that needs to be done. We need to do the accounting, the VAT needs to be done, invoices needs to be sent, quotes needs to be created, marketing needs to be done. So we have to go onto Facebook and post things, and all of these things start taking up time, taking us away from what we actually should do. And the relationship manager and the Nexus-X system, I feel, is there to take those things away, to get to a point where you can focus your energy on what you actually need. So on that note, let's take a short music break. When we come back, we're going to continue with the discussion on how does it actually benefit a small business owner in practice? And we'll talk a little bit about why you believe, why you bought into this whole concept. So those of you watching on social media, we are going to continue with our video on how to achieve your goals. And then you see this thing doesn't work and you keep hitting your head against the wall, knowing it's never going to get you to your end result. We all know the saying, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. But still we keep doing it. We start the year and we say, we are going to lose 10 kilograms this year. And then what do? We stop eating, we starve ourselves, and we try. So a couple of weeks in, we can't maintain that anymore. And then what happens? We stop and we gain all that weight back plus an extra kilo. And next year we say, well, this year I'm going to lose 10 kilograms, and we do exactly the same thing. We starve ourselves again, knowing that it doesn't work. That is doing the same thing and expecting a different result. So if you're saying that you're going to achieve one thing, be stubborn in that. That is the goal that you've set yourself. But be flexible in your methods. Be flexible in the way that you want to, or that you will achieve that. Sometimes you're going to do one thing and it's not going to give you the results. Then be solutions focused. It is so important for us to always be solutions focused. Don't be problem focused. When I talk to people and they tell me about their problems and what they want to achieve in life, and they tell me why they can't achieve something, and I give them a solution, and then immediately they give me a reason why that solution won't work. They give me a problem for every solution I give them. Then I immediately know that this person will not achieve their goal, because they are problem focused. They are not solutions focused. They're looking for reasons why it can't be done, instead of looking for reasons how it can be done. So you need to start looking for reasons how it can be done. The first thing you need to do is you need to set some goals. You need to really look at what it is that you want to achieve in this year, whether it is financial, whether it is personal, whether it's health-wise. What is it that you want to achieve? And once you have decided on that goal, what you then need to understand and ask yourself is, what is the cost going to be for me to achieve this goal? You can achieve anything you set your mind to, anything, if you are willing to pay the price, because every goal has a price, as long as you're willing to pay that price. The problem is we have these lofty ideals and these lofty goals, but we never consciously look at the price we are going to have to pay to achieve that goal. Is that price going to be cutting down on certain expenses to solve your cash flow problem? Is that price going to be, I have to stop smoking because I need to save 1,000 Rand or 2,000 Rand a month? Is that price, I have to give up my evenings of watching Netflix to do work on my own part-time business to create a business asset? Is that price going to be, I have to look at what I eat, I have to cut out my chocolates, I have to cut out my chocolate cake because I want to lose the weight? Is that price, I'm going to have to go to gym an hour a day, pack my bag in the morning before I go to work so that I can stop at gym on my way home? What is the price that you're going to have to pay to achieve the goal? Because once you have looked at that price and you've been honest with yourself about the price that you're going to have to pay to achieve that goal, the next question is very simple. Am I willing to pay that price? If I want to buy a Ferrari, if I walk into the dealership tomorrow and I say, listen, I want that red Ferrari, what is the first thing the guy is going to tell me? Well, it is. And welcome back, everyone. That was Living on a Prayer from Bon Jovi. So I assume you are quite a big Bon Jovi fan.
Yeah, I do like oldies, as I say. So yeah, anything old school rock, big fan.
Yeah, no, today's music, oh please, it's not the same as the 80s and 90s. I always looked at my parents and I thought, you know what, when do you stop listening to the new music? I'll never stop. I'll always listen to the newest music coming out. And now I've become my parents. I just don't listen to the new music anymore. I don't even know what new music came out. Anyway, okay, so TJ, when we spoke, firstly, before we continue, your contact details are on the screen. But if you just want to share that with the people as well, if they want to get in contact with you, and what do they do when they get in contact? Do they have to sign up immediately? Do you sit with them and explain? What do you do when you meet with them the first time?
So yeah, feel free to contact me at any time, Lourens. So what we do at first is, we'll have a bit of a conversation. First of all, we need to establish whether or not, comes back to what we first discussed, whether or not our concept will work for your business. I mean, obviously, from my side, I have to see that I have to determine if you are open-minded to I want to say our module. So first of all, first conversation, obviously there's no cost involved. So first conversation, we'll just have a seat. I usually take people out on what I call a coffee date. We have a cup of coffee. You tell me a bit more about your business. I'll tell you a bit more about what we do. And we find that synergy at the end of the day. So more than welcome to send me a WhatsApp, give me a call or whatever mode of communication you'd like to follow there.
Yeah, so we've got your email address on screen. It's tj.seifert@nexus-x.africa. So guys, please, it's .africa, not .africa.co.za, just .africa. And a number where they can call you on is 0679829008.
Perfect.
So anytime you want to chat with TJ, like we said, have a cup of coffee and just discuss whether, firstly, Nexus-X can benefit your business, but secondly, are you the kind of business that we can add value to? Because not all businesses will be ideal for us to add the value that they need. So let's find out if there's synergy, if there's a way to work together and help people succeed in their business. Why are you so passionate about it? Why do you believe in this concept?
So to explain you in my own words, Lourens, first of all, I have to go back in. When I finished school, I had no plan, okay? I had no tertiary education plan, so I was out into the world, okay? First of all, no corporate company is going to hire you not even at a decent salary. If they hire, it's going to be on an intern based, and finishing school, that's no option for you. So I believe that smaller businesses, SMMEs, are the economical backbone of our country. So South Africa has one of the highest unemployment statistics in the entire world. And how would we change that? It's not going to be by supporting bigger companies, but by starting new businesses and growing existing ones. This means that, Lourens, we are empowering the economy directly. So it's all about opportunity. It's all about creating opportunity and growing opportunities. Like I said, I think about when I finished matric, I had no plans, and I was out into the world, and there weren't a lot of options. You have this plan in your head. I'm going to do this and this and this, but at the end of the day, it's where you can find these opportunities. And to be honest, Lourens, these opportunities are drying up. So that's why it's important for us to start and grow newer businesses.
Yeah, if we just look, you mentioned the unemployment rate in South Africa, how high the unemployment rate is. And like you said rightly, We can't look to government to fix it. They don't even know how to fix themselves. We can't look to big business to fix it, because big business wants to do more with less people. They're not trying to build more people. They're trying to do get less people on their payroll. The only place where jobs are being created at a massive scale is small and medium enterprises. So if we can develop that, if we can take a micro enterprise and make it a small enterprise, a small to become a medium and a medium to become a large, that's how we create jobs, how we build the economy. And like you said, is a lot of small businesses, like you said, when you came out of matric, you had no plan. There was no real journey mapped out for you. There was no map for you to follow. And most small businesses that get started, we talk about technicians having an entrepreneurial seizure. But most small businesses, the person starts the business and he has no idea what his journey is going to be like. He just starts the business because he wants to work for himself, and he wants to make sure that he generates income for him and his family. But nobody tells them that these are the steps that you need to follow. This is what you need to do. Now, if you can just expand a little bit on that, is how Nexus-X helps small business owners to have a roadmap. What do you guys do to help small business owners with a roadmap to follow?
So first of all, Lourens, like you said, entrepreneurial seizure. So they start these businesses, but you're coming from a technician's background, from let's call it a laborer's background. And so you think, okay, I'm just going to jump into this and I'm going to start making money right away. However, as soon as you get your, let's call it your first contract landed, you realize that, there's all these things that need to happen. And that's where essentially where we come in. So we provide certain assessments into your company. And then by completing these assessments, we work out a roadmap for you. Like I said, we do have these 10 experts, and it's a very comprehensive service at the end of the day. So we have all these experts. We provide you with a roadmap, and not only do we provide you with this roadmap on how to grow your business, but we guide you through it. We literally take your hand and we guide you through, walk with you step by step on this roadmap, and obviously to look at these different aspects and to make the most of these different aspects.
Yeah, I think one of the things that was big for me in the benefit that we can give SMEs is the fact that most small businesses do have to have an accountant. I mean, you can't have a small business without having an accountant. You can't have a small business without having a legal person. You can't have a small business without having a financial advisor. So we have these people. Usually we go and find the cheapest one we can get, which is usually somebody who works from their house and they do 20 other people, so they're not really focused on our business, but that's how we manage. Or we try and do it ourselves. That's the best one. I did that a lot of the times. Oh, I need a contract. I'll just draw it up myself. It should be fine. And then it's not. But the big thing is, although a lot of small businesses already have access to people that help them, not necessarily experts, not necessarily people with 40 years and 30 years and 20 years experience, and we'll talk now about the kind of experience the experts in Nexus-X has. But the experts don't talk to each other. So the financial guy doesn't talk to the accountant doesn't talk to the legal, because they don't even know who they are. They don't know. Most small business owners, their accountant has no idea who that small business uses for their legal side or their insurance side or their financial side. So they can't ever talk to one another. Where with Nexus-X, all the experts communicate with each other. So they can then see and inform the business owner what needs to happen next, instead of him having to try and figure out, oh shit, what do I need to remember and what do I need to think about? So if we look at those experts, what are the experience like? So let's have a chat about the 10 seats, because Nexus-X, the X is for the 10 seats, which is the 10 experts that surround the business owner, which is then the nexus point is the business owner, because everything converges at that business owner. What are the seats that's available that the experts work from?
So initially, Lourens, there are 10 seats in Nexus-X, thus, hence the name Nexus-X. So first of all, we'd look at accounting and taxing. Second of all, we'd look at brand activation and advertising. Importantly as well is business coaching. We have a business funding seat. So coming back to, not only do we make sure that, ensure that you've got a proper paper trail to be eligible for funding, but we provide you with a funding channel as well.
Okay.
Next, we look at infrastructure and business automation. We have the legal seat, as you mentioned. We do your long-term insurance and obviously your risk assessments. We have a marketing seat. We've got a short-term risk seat as well for commercial insurance and things like that. And of course, we've got skills development. So if we look at some of these different services, let's look at legal, for instance. Now you can tell me, why is things like legal important when we've got Google, where you can just go and download a contract and just kind of wing it and hope it sticks.
Yeah.
So legal, for instance, is all about protecting your own business, making sure that not only employee contracts are in place and there's no holes in your employee contract, but, service providing contracts and things like that. Next, let's look at something like brand activation and why that's important. So you've got this concept in your mind, and obviously when we come into your business, we kind of alter that perception and either enhance it or tweak it up a little bit. So brand activation and advertising helps you bring that vision to life. When we look at things like skills development, when I stepped into Nexus-X, I knew nothing about skills development or how it works, but it's a very powerful tool at the end of the day. You get a lot of funds back from the STL, and the government actually says that if you're willing to train people, we're willing to pay their salaries. So why not look at things like this?
Exactly.
Why not have people working for you for free?
Basically create leverage in your business without it costing you money. So because that's the catch-22 that a lot of businesses have, is to grow, we need more people. To need more people, we have to grow because we can't afford those people if we haven't grown, but we can't grow until we put the people in. So what that skills development levy does, and the internships, is it gives you access to the people so that you can grow, so that you can afford people. And most companies don't use that at all.
Exactly. And when I also speak to people, they're like, no, we didn't even know about, when I say SDL, it's like, what's that abbreviation stand for? Like, the skills development levy. They say, okay, so you can help us all, use this. I'm like, not only that, but, let's look at the different seats as well. But, the skills development, there's a massive misperception with that. And I don't think people understand, or our business owners understand, why things like this is important. Like I said, paying for your employees at the end of the day. And, when we look at things like tax, and when you claim back the 30% from the SDL, I'd rather have that, that extra 30% in my budget for next year than just giving it to the revenue service at the end of the day.
Yeah, because a lot of, talking about SDL, for example, so many companies pay for it. They have they feel it's like just another tax, like a UIF tax, and they don't really know that they can get immediate benefit from that. And that's what Zim and his team, one of the experts on Nexus-X, what they do is they help people access those funds that are available for them.
Yeah, 100%. And if we look past skills development, look like something that you would find simple, like short-term insurance, business insurance. You'd think, I'm going to phone this company call center, I'm going to get a policy from them, I'm going to pay X amount, and that'll have to do. But with our expert, she comes in and she looks at all the different aspects of your business, all the things that needs to be insured. And at the end of the day, it's not the premium you pay. Obviously, the bigger picture for us is to offer you more value for less. However, at the end of the day, it's better to be sufficiently covered, and that's the important part. Having your vehicles, let's say you've got vehicles on the road, having your vehicles properly insured. A big thing in the short-term insurance industry is things like co-payments, making sure that that it's not too overwhelming for your business at the end of the day. Because let's say, for instance, I do suffer a loss on one of my vehicles, but my excess payment is like 10,000 rand, but the damage is only 12,000 rand to the vehicle. What's the use?
Yeah.
Because it's just going to push up your premium at the end of the day. And that's the type of what I'm trying to say is that's the type of aspects that we look at the end of the day.
Because if you look at financial services specifically and risk policies and those kind of things, a lot of people just think that they need to look at what's the cheapest premium. And if they talk to an expert, they talk to their broker, it's about who can give me the best premium. But it's more about what your needs are and addressing those needs, making sure that what you're paying for is actually what you need. It's pointless to have something when it doesn't actually do what you need? And do you understand the shortfalls? I always say to people, I'd rather tell you where your obstacles and your shortfalls are, and then we know if something happens, you are not covered for something, than you thinking you're covered for everything, and then when it happens, you realize you're not covered for it. Because if you know where your shortfalls are, you can be prepared for that. If you don't, it all comes as a surprise, and then you're upset with the whole world because of that. Okay, so let's take another short music break, and then when we come back, we'll continue our chat with TJ on Nexus-X and the relationship managers, and then we'll chat a little bit about your vision on where you see Nexus-X going and what it can achieve and how we can help small businesses. So again, those of you listening on our or watching on our social media channels, we're going to continue with that video on how to achieve your goals. The cost for this is 5 million rand. I can't walk in and say, I want the red Ferrari. The guy says, well, it's going to cost 5 million. I say, no. My goal is I want the Ferrari, but I don't want to pay 5 million for it. I just want it. Are they going to give me the Ferrari? No. They're going to laugh me out.